When was the last time you got your hands dirty? Whether it's something as noble as planting a tree or making a castle of mud or sand. However you choose to get down and dirty, today presents the perfect opportunity. It's December 5, World Soil Day. Welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Vanessa Silvera. We celebrate the soil today on Farm Tech, plus lessons in winemaking for the festive season. Lots in store, so enjoy the show.
As a nurse, my heart bleed for see the accident victims. Worse when blood and oxygen short. Ease the burden on our hospitals, no man. Please me I beg you no. Drive safe pon the road.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, December 5, 2022. Government will be creating a designation under the NRCA Act for ecologically sensitive areas to provide a greater level of protection. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, says 16 such areas have already been identified, 9 of which will be in the coastal zone. The first designated area will be Great Bay in southwest St. Elizabeth.
This will mean activities such as the illegal sand mining we saw earlier in the year will not be permitted and will not be considered by any government in the future.
Senator Samuda was making his contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the Upper House on Friday. The proposed amendment to the NRCA Act is among other changes to this and the Wildlife Protection Act planned to increase fines and penalties for polluting the island's rivers and other breaches of the legislation.
Those who have flouted our laws and polluted with little to no consequence will now see consequences that match the scale of the problem.
The National Water Commission, NWC, will soon be introducing 5 light-duty electric vehicles into its fleet. Minister Matthew Samuda, who made the announcement last Friday, says they will be purchased during the next vehicle procurement exercise and will be tested for use in metropolitan areas and then expanded.
The results of these tests will then determine how NWC will move forward for the inclusion of more EVs in the fleet complement.
Mr. Samuda says the addition is part of steps to make the organization more efficient and environmentally friendly in its energy usage patterns.
It also will not hurt as we continue to expand our renewables capacity at pump houses across the island.
The first set of birth certificates under government's Operation Birthright has now been handed out. The program seeks to provide 11,000 birth certificates free of cost for undocumented Jamaicans with low income and was announced as one of the Jamaica 60 legacy initiatives. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, handed over the first certificate to Beeston Spring resident Tina Campbell on Friday. Persons can be nominated for the program by their Member of Parliament, the head of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, senior officials in the Ministry of Local Government, a Justice of the Peace, a public officer, a medical practitioner, or a minister of religion, among others on the authorized official list. It's open to Jamaican-born citizens aged 1 year and above with a monthly income of $37,000 or below. Beneficiaries must also not be receiving similar assistance under another program. Application forms can be downloaded from nidsfax.com or rgd.gov.jm and submitted to any RGD office island-wide for processing. The RGD will also be printing and distributing the form at its branch offices. The first batch of nurses from across the United States of America are now on the island to participate in the Ministry of Health's Code Care project. The initiative is geared at reducing the backlog of elective surgeries in the public health sector by 2,000 over a 12-month period and cutting the wait time for these surgeries to less than 180 days. As part of Project Code Care's long-term objective, MOUs are being signed with overseas health systems to build capacity for training more specialist nurses. This will be done through clinical faculty sharing and exchanges, as well as clinical rotation in Jamaica and outside the country. The 6 nurses from the U.S. are assigned to the Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover. They are set to support 15 to 20 surgeries over the next 7 days, treating hernias and transurethral resection of the prostate, among other conditions. 8 local private and public health facilities have also partnered with the Health Ministry to achieve the deliverables of Project Code Care. So far, over 100 surgeries have been completed under the project. And finally, the Ministry of Education and Youth has put forward an education philosophy that focuses on the holistic development of the student to create the kind of society that Jamaica desires. Portfolio Minister Fable Williams made the announcement during a press conference at Jamaica House recently.
The Ministry of Education has spent some time deliberating, drafting and redrafting, and at this point we do have a proposed education philosophy. Of course, we know that we have to build the awareness around this as we go forward.
Minister Williams says what is being created is a deeper philosophical embrace of education and what it can do for society. The move is in keeping with the 2021 Reform of Education in Jamaica report, which was developed by the Jamaica Education Transformation Commission, chaired by Professor Orlando Patterson. That report had recommended that the ministry widely promote an education philosophy that sees learning as a collaborative interaction between teachers, students, and the curriculum. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where the fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica.
World Soil Day is held annually on December 5 to highlight the importance of healthy soil and to advocate for the sustainable management of its resources. Let's learn more about the ground beneath us and the bounty it can produce today on Farm Tech.
To provide jobs for persons, it lets me feel like, I'm really contributing to the economy of the country. It's just a good feeling, and to produce the quality products, to compete with the international market, and to produce goods that actually look much better than imported goods, it's a good feeling for me.
So by now, we should all be aware of the benefits of leasing lands from the government. But once you've leased the land, how do you maximize returns? Well, knowing the soil type is important. For instance, did you know that over in the Ebony Park Spring Plain Agro Park, the soil type impacts the kinds of crops that can be planted there?
Ebony Park Agro Park is about 1,100 acres, and likewise the Spring Plain, and that's roughly all the lands within there. There are areas of non-arable areas, but there are arable areas. Arable areas amount on the Ebony Park side to about 800 acres. There's a lot of different soil types, predominantly Bonegate, clay loam. Basically anything can grow here. Once it requires a pH of about 6.5 to about 7. There are pockets where the pH might fall to about 5.5, 5.8. So if there's a crop that needs to be having a lower pH, soil could be amended to facilitate that. But basically anything will grow.
So let's revisit our checklist. We've applied and submitted all the necessary documentations, including proof of our capacity to invest in the land. We've learned about soil types and pH balances in the soil. What's next after you've been approved?
They would assign you a plot number, or they'd give you a designated area to where you'd be assigned. I guess you'd view it to see maybe what you'd need to do. If it needs a bit of clearing, you might want to look at that, how you go about doing that. You'll be advised as to the best way to get that done. You might want to go to the NIC because our water is pressurized, and so the NIC supplies it. So a part of your contract would give you the ability to go to NIC with tenure of land and then they would then come and put your meter on so that you get ready supply for water. We also offer tractor services to plow, harrow, farrow, and other activities that you might want, rotovate and so on for your lands. So we'll be able to do that. Once you do that, we could tell you of maybe different cycles, crop cycles, where you might want to plant, best time for certain crop. You might be able to go out of these seasons, but at least we'll be able to tell you that this crop does well in a particular season. The risk might be higher in another season, but so might be the returns. So you could get advice as to that. So local advice will be there ready for you.
Meet Henry Givens, a youth farmer who is a beneficiary of this initiative. He started out acquiring just 5 acres of land, and today he is up to 15. Givens plants various crops at different stages, including Scotch bonnet pepper, sweet potato, and Maruga red watermelons, as well as slicing and plummy tomatoes.
Leasing land from the government, it is actually beneficial, and at the point where I would actually want to lease more if available. You know, I am not employed otherwise, so it allows me to take care of my 2 babies, and it allows me to eat and survive. So it is something very beneficial, I would say. Life here at Ebony Park, it's twofold. It's good sometimes and sometimes it's challenging. One, persons around, some persons, they know what to do with their crops, for example, and they don't want to do it. So sometimes, we have a lot of pest and disease outbreak, and some persons just don't want to invest the funds or do what is right to actually, make the agro park much better and a much cleaner environment. And then, also, sometimes there's a major issue with the whole irrigation system. It costs a lot sometimes, because even if you look into the pepper field, sun scalding is a result of a lack of water supply sometimes. But it's a blessing, and there is not only negative, because once you have irrigation, then without the irrigation I couldn't do anything like this, none at all.
Farming can be an expensive venture, but it's also beneficial. As a youth farmer, the challenges may not even be financial.
Some older persons, because they're so, relatively young, they don't want to work with you because they said they don't want to work with a younger person. However, sometimes it's good to know that, for some persons that really can't afford to go into the farming as deep, that you can provide them with not only a job, but you can also assist them with technical advice to improve their smaller production that they do as well. My advice to younger farmers or investors is that they should not be discouraged or swayed from agriculture. It is something that can be beneficial, and is a good way to make a good foundation for themselves and their families. So it's something that they should look into and be strong about it. That's the only way we can build our country.
What people want are good memories to say, wow, I got this from this person and they really thought about me. So how about looking for some pictures that you have of you and that special person and packaging it nicely, or putting it in a picture frame? That could make a really nice gift. Or think about what is their financial goal that they're trying to save towards. And it may be that you put a nice little card and say, hey, I'm contributing towards X because I know it means the world to you. Or look around the home. What is it that they really want? It could be something as simple as lovely pillows for a woman, right? And you may buy her a set of pillows. Look for something that means the world to that person. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. It just has to show that you've put in a whole lot of heart.
Okay, so you don't have a sprawling backyard to plant your crops. Efficiency is the name of the game. Containerize your crops to get the best results. We join Kerry in surveying our backyard gardening options.
This garden is beautiful, right? Well, it took quite some time and a lot of hard work to get it to this stage. Did you get it in someone's backyard? It is. Backyard gardening is one sure way of eating healthy and saving money. Today, both you and I will be learning some important pointers on growing our very own garden. So, come, let's dig some dirt. With me is Master Gardener Rashida Linton. She'll be telling us what to consider when choosing a location for a garden. Rashida, this looks like a good enough location.
It is. This is quite okay. You need to ensure that your property is located in an area that receives anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of sunlight per day. In fact, you need to also ensure that it gets adequate amount of water. It could be either a water tank, a roof gutter, or just a simple tap. You know what? Chris! He's well informed, very experienced. This is his property. He'll be able to tell you anything you want to know. Chris, this is Kerry. Kerry, this is Chris. She's interested in farming. Please tell her anything she wants to know. See you guys later.
All right, later. Chris, look like we're going to do some farming. Yeah, all right.
Get geared up. You'll need gloves and rubber boots. First, clear the land of stones, tins, broken glass or other types of trash and large sticks or plastics that will hinder your plant's growth. Next, use the fork to dig the area and loosen the soil. You may want to make sure that you fork at least 10 to 12 inches or roughly 25 to 35 centimeters so that your plant roots grow easily. This is also the time that you should add whatever animal manure you have to the soil. Also, you may consider adding sand to improve soil structure and drainage. You want a nice crumbly texture. How much manure do you need? Use 1 kilogram or about 2.5 pounds of chicken manure or 4 kilograms or 8 pounds of cow dung or goat manure to 1 square meter or a yard-sized bed. Fork the manure well into the soil and keep forking to mount a raised bed that is at least 3 feet wide or 90 centimeters and 20 to 30 centimeters or 1 to 12 inches high. Keeping the width at 3 feet will make it easier for you to sow, weed, water and reap from the outside in without having to reach too far. To further ensure that your soil is free from pests and diseases, cover the soil with plastic for a few weeks. Cut large garbage bags down to the side seams and lay them on top of the soil to cover. You can use stones around the edges to keep the bags in place. The plastic covering will allow the soil to get heated in the sun, and over time this will kill most of the insects, pests and viruses that might be living in the soil. If you are fencing your plot, you should do that now too. Dig holes at least 1 foot or 30 centimeters. These holes should be at least 2 feet away from each corner of your raised bed. This will give you enough room to walk around as well as bend for sowing, weeding and watering. Next, one by one, set your fence posts in each hole and fill them in. Then, nail chicken wire around your plot, making sure to leave an opening for entrance and exit.
Kerry, this is good, but you know you don't have to go through all this trouble. There is a much simpler way, especially for persons who don't have enough space. It is called containerized gardening. You need to ensure that you have access to a good amount of water along with 6 to 8 hours of sunlight per day. In fact, Bridget has a containerized garden. Let's go and see her.
All right. Chris, thanks.
Thank you.
Bridget, this is Kerry. Kerry, this is Bridget.
Hi.
Bridget has a container garden. Kerry is interested in doing containerized gardening. Please give her all the information she needs. Later, guys.
All right,
Later.
then take care.
Later.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi.
You have actually come good time because I'm just about to transplant some tomatoes.
Okay.
Right. So this is my container.
When you grow in containers, you must have a proper drainage. If you buy clay or plastic flower pots, they will have holes punched in the bottom for this purpose. But if you are making your own, you must make sure you punch holes in the bottoms and sides so that the plants won't get waterlogged and develop root rot. As for getting the right soil mix, making sure you have really good healthy soil is even more important in container gardening than it is in raised bed gardening. That's because the soil in pots is shallower and can dry out more easily. Most container plants do best with a mix of soils. 1 part loamy soil, 1 part sand and 1 part humus. Because potted soil does not easily retain nutrients, you should add 6 tablespoons of fertilizer to soil. Once you've put the right mix of soil in your pots, allow them to settle for a week or two before planting. The next thing to think about is choosing the right crop to grow in your pots. The most ideal plants for container gardening are callaloo, tomato, peppers, lettuce, cabbage, cucumber, legumes, condiments, and herbs.
Thank you so much, Miss Williams, for all your help. Yeah, man. Boy, backyard gardening, not easy. But hey, at least now we know about site selection and container gardening. Backyard living, not bad at all.
Let's take a break from all the dirty talk and enjoy something else from the soil. Wine. Making the beverage may be easier than you think. Take a look.
For thousands of years, man has been enjoying the delights of wine, the tasty alcoholic fluid which is the byproduct of fermented sugar and forms a key component on menus during festive periods. Whether it's dry, sweet, or the sparkling variety, you can learn to make your own as an amateur fermenting for home use or a professional running a lucrative business. The Rural Agricultural Development Authority RADA is fueling local interest by providing training in basic winemaking for persons in farming communities where there's an abundance of suitable raw materials. Today we're in class, learning the rudiments for the amateur winemaker.
This is one way we can utilize our fruits and our vegetables. You can use things like breadfruit too, but the thing is, it's nice to use the breadfruit when it's lush and ripe. You know, when you're ready to throw it, you say plaka plaka, that is when you use it because you get a real nice flavor from it. You use your soursop, you use everything that is there and get value from it. We talk about adding value and making the country go in terms of economics. That's the means. We have a lot of herbs, like our guinea hen or aloe vera and so forth. So the home doing winemaking is one means of utilizing all of those. And now that it's Christmas, if you had set your wine, say from June, July, you wouldn't have to buy some gifts because you could prepare your gifts. Wine is basically a juice that you're allowed to ferment. And how you work the juice is what gives you a good wine or gives you vinegar. No, there are three types of wine. This is yeast, and it is the main source of your winemaking. The sugar is what feeds the yeast, producing the alcohol and the CO2. When you're ready to do your thing, what you can do is put a little water in a container, dissolve, and then you can put this in it. And if it stays there and bubbles and starts like it's spreading, the yeast is good and well. If it falls to the bottom and nothing now go on, your yeast dead. So therefore you can't use it to make the wine. If you have a winemaking kit available, this would be the ideal thing to make your wine in, because you have an airlock here that can tell you when fermentation is happening and when it stops. This is filled with water. And when the wine is being made and the CO2 is being given off, the water in here bubbles. So automatically when no bubbles is coming up in here, you know that fermentation done. So you can pour off your thing. If you're just going the real homemade style, when you don't have the facility, all you have is a keg. So you're going to work from the books. The book says 3 weeks. Say you're making pineapple wine. Nice to use. The best sugar to use in that case would be the granulated sugar. Remember, the granulated sugar is clear, so you would see the yellow, it would show up. If you're doing a batch of roots, you're going to be sweetening with molasses and the dark sugar. Because when you drink your roots, you want that earthy taste. The fact of the matter is, when you break it up, you expose more surface area. So therefore, you're going to get more flavor being extracted. So that is why you pulverize it. After you finish everything, because the heat is a factor, You store your wine in a dark area, dark, cool area. Today we'll be doing a sorrel wine. It's Christmas time, so we have to nice up the place. The hot water is on the sorrel already, and we draw it, we start the sweetening process so we can speed up things. Now this bag here is a nice little drawstring bag. It's like a strainer. It's through the sorrel here, and I lower it. Now, I leave the trash in the bag and keep it there so fermentation happens with it in the bag. The reason simple for that is the flavor at the end of the day is going to be stronger. When you use this and you have it in here, you don't go to 21 days. You go like day 19. You take out this and you get rid of it. And then you close it back. And on the 21 day, you get ready to throw. After it has fermented and you throw it off, you can add some reagents to it so that it clears up easily. The recipe calls for 4 pounds of sugar. I've already added 2, so I'm going to add the other 2. So we're going to stir consistently to ensure that the sugar dissolves. Now, it is important to remember that the sugar content affects the alcohol content of the wine. You may add too much and just get a very sickeningly sweet wine because fermentation isn't complete. Now we are going to measure our yeast to add. We need 1 tablespoon of yeast. This mixture is sorrel, ginger. So all of those little things you see there, that's ginger. And of course, a little cinnamon and the sugar. It's important to remember, you see here, when you add your liquid, at no point it should be up here. You should leave space to facilitate circulation of the carbon dioxide. When you are setting your wine, label your things properly. Label the date that it was set, and you count off your 3 weeks and label the day you're going to throw off. Then now, you are going to close off your container. Put a little tape around here and you do your thing, and 3 weeks later you throw off your wine. So we are going to decant, and please realize I'm not saying strain, I'm saying decanting, because strain you would get the impression that you're going to throw it to a sieve. We're not doing that, and you do it slowly. Now you see we're coming towards the end where you see the residue coming out, the yeast there. So you don't want that to get out, so you're going to put that down. And this, you're going to throw this away. And then now you cover this and you put it down, and you can, I usually tell my ladies, you can throw off every week. When it's nice and clear, then you can bottle.
This is where we close the pages of Jamaica Magazine. If you missed parts of the show, then you can watch on our website, jis.gov.jm. Now, listen, there are only 20 days left in Christmas, so do your shopping early to avoid the holiday rush. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Vanessa Silvera. Stay safe, walk good, and happy holidays.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.